with us.
Blackfire is a great little original horror graphic novel that you can read in one sitting. It was published in 2011 by Archaia Entertainment, probably best known for putting out Mouse Guard and titles related to the Jim Henson universe. But they have an extensive catalog full of interesting graphic novels, including Cursed Pirate Girl, The Killer, Old City Blues, Oko, and Siegfried, which are all worthy of covering down the line. However, while I've seen at least a little bit of chatter regarding those other books, I never see anyone ever talk about Blackfire. It has sadly been overlooked. Blackfire was created by Hernan Rodriguez, an Argentinian artist who hasn't had much exposure here in the States. In fact, as far as I can tell, this graphic novel is the only available thing in print for the most part. Though the book is a very handsome tome, which is true of most Archaia's books, you'll notice there are none of the quoted blurbs that typically reside on books that need that kind of a push. And without much in the way of review coverage or making it on any of those best of horror lists, it seems to sit on the shelf, relying solely on its ability to lure in more adventurous readers with its provocative cover and intriguing premise. But who has the time or money to be adventurous? That's what I'm here for. Blackfire takes place during the Napoleonic campaign in Russia, putting it around 1812. To put it concisely for the non-history buffs, Napoleon was that French dude who tried to take over the world, but when he tried to take over Russia, he realized too late that Russia is too big, it's way too cold, and the people there do not fuck around. Russia employed scorched earth tactics that made it impossible to supply Napoleon's huge army. And for French soldiers, retreat was not as simple as just turning around and heading back to old Paris. They had to contend with starvation, frostbite, and roving bands of Cossacks that did not take prisoners. Okay, end of history lesson. Oh, and also Napoleon had a really tiny penis. So it is during this retreat that we meet our main characters, a small band of French soldiers on the run from Cossacks, who take refuge in a seemingly abandoned mining town, which the pursuing Cossacks don't seem keen on following them into. It is here that we meet up with a few other hungry, desperate souls, also seeking shelter from their harsh situation. However, it's not long before these ragtag strangers in a strange land begin making horrific discoveries about why the village is abandoned and what makes Russians keep their distance from this place. From there, we get a great supernatural horror story that combines Russian folklore and mythology with the grim reality of what life was like 200 years ago. And I mean grim. Blackfire is imaginative, creepy, and well-paced. And Rodriguez is a solid storyteller, but I think what really sets Blackfire apart is its personality as it pertains to this bleak time period. It's like the situation that these characters find themselves is so seemingly helpless from the get-go to a modern audience that to stack ancient, malevolent nightmares on top of all that just gives a whole new meaning to out of the frying pan and into the fire. Before the monsters even get too revved up, we have decapitations, disease, and casual conversations about what it's like to have your testicles fall off from the cold.
Pretty dire.
But despite all that hardship, all of these characters still grip to life tightly. There's a character with a fever who you can just tell from the way he's drawn, dude's not gonna make it. But when one of the main characters offers to put him out of his misery, he refuses and says, "I want to live." It's these characters' dogged instinct for survival despite their hunger and the extremities they've lost to frostbite and the deaths of friends and family that makes it all the more tragic and horrifying when they are thrust to even more nightmarish circumstances. Blackfire is a great little read if you think you've exhausted every good horror comic out there. The comparison points here are Guillermo del Toro movies like The Devil's Backbone and Pan's Labyrinth, the Hellboy comics, Brotherhood of the Wolf, which, now that I think about it, is another perfect candidate for Overlooked. I mean, have you seen Brotherhood of the Wolf? Holy shit. And most definitely the works of H.P. Lovecraft, which is no coincidence given the only other work I can find by Rodriguez are his excellent Lovecraft adaptations, which he was kind enough to make available on his website, link in the description. If you're iffy on Blackfire, go check out his Lovecraft stories for free and see if it whets your appetite. Alright, that's it for this one, and look how short it is! Cossacks. Cossacks? Cossacks? Cossacks?
Cossacks.
Cossacks. Cossacks? Cossacks?
Or am I thinking about the Cossacks?
Cossacks. Cossacks. Cossacks.
Just say Cossacks.
Cossacks.
And I'll put a picture of a tailbone up.
Coxes.
The Cossacks.
So, it is during this retreat that we meet our main characters, a small band of French Okay. Given the only other work I can find by Rodriguez are his excellent Lovecraft... Love cut that.